Hello friends, I'm Miss Donna, and this is Veronica.
Hello.
Today we're going to read to you from Patricia's Vision, The Doctor Who Saved Sight, by Michelle Lord, illustrated by Alleanna Harris. These are the rainbows that come from prisms. Patricia's Vision, The Doctor Who Saved Sight. Harlem, New York City, late 1940s. Young Patricia Bath was curious. She peered at a man begging for coins. Folks in her neighborhood strolled right past him, but Patricia watched, wondering. Why are his eyes cloudy? How did that happen? She shut her eyes and pondered. What's it like to live in a world of dark? Other little girls played nurse, but 6-year-old Patricia declared, I want to be a doctor. All the doctors Patricia knew were men. A medical degree required years and years of study and cost money Patricia's family didn't have. But she saw possibility where others didn't. Both of her parents stressed the importance of education and hard work. Her mother cooked and cleaned a Park Avenue apartment to save money for Patricia's education. She encouraged her daughter's interest in science by surprising her with a chemistry set. Patricia learned about the big, wide world from her father's stories of working aboard merchant ships. She knew an education would take her places. All the while, Patricia doctored her dolls, poking her needle into the tattered cloth and back through the other side. She stitched, she snipped, and she knotted. She mended her dolls with bandages, splints, and neat stitches, and never lost sight of her dream. Patricia grew, and so did her curiosity. In high school, science made Patricia's pulse race. That means she was really excited about it. Other teens watched TV. Patricia pressed her eyes through a microscope, inspecting insects that she caught. That's what she's looking at. That's what she can see in her microscope. Patricia loved learning. She worked hard and kept her eye on the future. I was always a curious child, she said about herself. Here we go. In college, she memorized, she multiplied, and she measured. When she wasn't poring over beakers, burners, or ionic bonds, she volunteered to read to the blind. 4 years passed in a blur. In medical school, she studied everything from broken bones to kidney stones, inside and out, from head to toe. By the time she finished, she knew exactly what kind of doctor she wanted to be. Can you guess?
An eye doctor.
An eye doctor, an ophthalmologist, a surgeon who treats eyes. After 4 years of medical school, she slipped out of her cap and gown and into a crisp white coat. She was now Dr. Patricia Bath. Here's what she said. She said, I decided to get the training, education, and skill set so that I could achieve miracles. Pretty amazing. Here's a clinic that she worked in. Dr. Bath tackled her first project in her own Harlem neighborhood. So many blind patients gathered at the Harlem Hospital Eye Clinic. Dr. Bath wondered why. She wanted excellent eye care for everyone. Most of these patients had never been examined by an ophthalmologist. Swallowing her sorrow, she asked her professors to help. They said yes and operated for free. Dr. Bath saw possibility where other people hadn't. Eyesight is a basic human right, and that is her ophthalmology clinic. She's saying every human being deserves good eyesight. Wonder what's happening here. Dr. Bath couldn't wait to begin her career as an ophthalmologist. She moved across the country to join a famed Jules Stein Eye Institute in California. Walking into work that first morning, she had an idea. She had no idea that she was the first woman on the faculty. Oh, so she did something new. Her eyes widened upon finding her new office, away from the others, in the basement, next to the animals. That's not okay, is it? No. Here she is talking to her colleagues, to the other doctors. She marched upstairs and demanded a workspace equal to what the other new professors had. That sounds fair, right? At times she wondered why others took the easy cases of the rich and famous. They gave Dr. Bath difficult patients, but she straightened her lab coat and got to work. Taking the high road may be arduous and long, but it will lead to justice and triumph. What she's saying is sometimes doing the right thing is not always so easy, but it'll make it happen. She was proud of the care for the so-called hopelessly blind. What if I could give my patients the gift of sight, she wondered. Other doctors said, it's impossible. Dr. Bath said, I choose miracles. Tip, tap, tip, tap. A blind veteran, that's somebody who had served in the armed services, a blind veteran found his way to the office. Dr. Bath decided the best treatment was to replace his damaged cornea, the covering of the eyeball, with an artificial cornea. I felt that being able to restore sight to the blind was really the highest call of what I could do. In the opera, here, this is a close-up of the eye. There's a close-up of the eye and what she's doing. In the operating room, under hot lights, she squinted through a microscope for hours, cutting away scar tissue, fitting a plastic cornea until her fingers ached. An artificial cornea contains a tiny tube that projects the light and returns the patient's vision. Dr. Bath placed the device through his cornea, sewing it into place. She wove her needles in and out as she had done when she was a little girl. When Dr. Bath peeled away the bandages, her patient's face shined in the lamp. I can see the light. With her help, patients read signs, marveled at colors, and walked without canes. They even drove cars. Each time I have restored and improved someone's vision through surgery, it's a very special moment. What a special moment that is to take off the bandages for the first time and a person can see. It's very special, isn't it? One day, a patient called on Dr. Bath for help. Shining a bright light into the patient's eyes, Dr. Bath discovered the problem. She shook her head. A thin layer of tissue called a membrane had grown in the eye after surgery. The woman could no longer see. Dr. Bath spent many sleepless nights tossing and turning, wondering how to help. One night, she had an idea. A laser beam. A laser makes a narrow beam of light, so narrow that it becomes intense, so intense that it can cut like a knife. Other doctors use lasers on the skin, inside the body, and sometimes focused inside the eye. Never before had doctors used a laser tool that could be guided with ease and control of a pencil. This was Dr. Bath's new idea. How could she take it from her imagination to her operating room, right? How do we make a good idea happen? Here we go. This is what's going to happen. Here's what she's imagining the procedure will look like. In her mind, she saw a probe that could focus a laser beam through a tiny fiber as thin as a single strand of hair. Dr. Bath remembered the man with the cloudy eyes from her childhood. Doctors already used lasers on the cornea. Why not a cloudy lens? Get Daddy his phone. She thought. Boom! She realized her laser probe design could be used to remove cataracts, a common condition where the lens of an eye turns cloudy and causes blindness. Unthinkable! It's in the bathroom. Can you bring it to him? Unthinkable! Preposterous! It can't be done, said the other doctors. But she kept thinking big thoughts about the tool that didn't exist yet. Remember that limits of science are not the limits of your imagination, she said. Dr. Bath traveled to Europe in 1986 to experiment with the best lasers. See, she's traveling from California. It looks like she's traveling to Great Britain. She planned, she plotted, she predicted. Finally, she gathered parts for a tool that only existed in her mind. IV tubing, stainless steel pipe, optical fibers. She wasted no time. She fitted, she fashioned, she fused. She refused to give up. She had to see if her idea worked. Do you ever have an idea that you really want to put to part and you just have to work at it, right?
I don't think that's a good idea when you're doing something in the eye.
You got to be really careful. It's good that she knew what she was doing and she planned it. Alone, long after midnight, raindrops pelted at the windows as Dr. Bath tested different lasers on eye tissue. Her mind churned. Maybe, possibly, this could work. She aimed the argon fluoride laser at the lens and fired, but the cataract was still there. Next, she fired the krypton fluoride laser. Still not enough power. Dr. Bath leaned close. If the wavelength wasn't just right, the eyeball might burst. Ooh, she's got to get this right, doesn't she? She aimed the xenon chloride laser and fired. Oh, pop, pop, pop. Although she could not see the laser beam, she watched the cataract vaporize in a few zaps. Remember, the cataract is the film that is covering the eye, and she managed to vaporize it. Dr. Bath tossed her papers in the air. Eureka! That's what people say when they found a solution. United States patent applicant. So she put in a patent. Her invention worked. She called the new tool the laser phaco probe. Back at home, she applied for a patent, which is an official document to prove that she was the inventor of laser phaco. And she waited. Months later, Dr. Bath opened the mail and she found an envelope from the United States Patent Trademark Office in her mailbox. Her hands trembled as she ripped open the flap. On May 17th, 1988, Dr. Bath was granted her first patent for the laser phaco probe. Her eyes flooded with tears of joy. I was not seeking to be the first. I was only attempting to do my thing. Pretty amazing. Okay, here we go. This is a little bit more about the rest of her life after this. Even in retirement, that's when a person stops doing their work. Even in retirement, she never lost sight of her goal. While climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, she learned about a school for the blind. When she visited, she found a mud building, a classroom without braille books. You know what braille books are? They're the books that have texture on them, so even if your eyes don't work, you can still read the book. You learn the braille alphabet, which teaches letters. And
so it has a texture?
It has a texture, and then you can read. The mud building, classroom without braille books, and children in need. Her heart sank. She hunted all around town, but couldn't find so much as a magnifying glass to help them see. What could she do? She returned home, but wondered, do these children have a future? What do they need? How can I help? Isn't that something we can do when we see a problem? We start asking questions. How could she help? Once again, Dr. Bath saw a way what others could not. Technology. If the children could not read words with their eyes, they could read Braille computer keyboards with their fingertips. Dr. Bath sent computers to the school in Tanzania. Now the students could read words and calculate homework problems. Computers gave them not only books, but a world of information where their lives before had been dark. Here, too, she gave a gift of sight. She called it computer vision. In my childhood, I developed a love and respect for humanity and wanted to help heal the sick. So here we go. I believe that someday the blind will see. Dr. Patricia Bath saw possibility wherever she went. And here is a timeline of her life. Friends, you can freeze this if you want to take a careful look. But it just tells us, I'll tell you the beginning and the end. In 1942, on November 4th, Dr. Bath, Mr. Bath, Mrs. Bath, and Big Brother welcomed Priscilla Bath. She was born at home in Harlem in New York City. Dr. Bath passed away. We received her first patent in 1988. And in 2019, this amazing doctor and inventor and teacher passed away on May 30th. 2019. Here is a note from the author. I discovered Dr. Patricia Bath when I was researching female firsts for a project. My mother had recently been diagnosed with cataracts, so I was especially interested to learn about the woman who invented the laser probe used to remove cataracts. As a child, I too wanted to be a doctor when I grew up. In fact, my project for the elementary school science fair focused on eyes, complete with a dissected cow eyeball. Dr. Bath and I discussed her life over a series of telephone interviews. I felt that this inspiring woman had been overlooked for long, and I hope this book would be a fitting tribute for her incredible life. So that is a little bit more about Dr. Patricia Bath. You can take a screenshot if you want to close in on it. And here are some other books about women in STEM. That's women who are in science, technology, engineering, and math. Friends, it is so important to learn about people who have pioneered in their field. They've done the first things to advance our understanding of science or medicine, mathematics, and engineering. I did not know about Dr. Patricia Bath until recently, and I hope you enjoyed learning about her too. She did some really good things. Friends, I hope you take very good care of yourself and you go do something good today.